The raw truth about the industry. In Los Angeles, everybody knows the politics run deep, and certain crews like the LA Crips expect artists to check in the moment they touch the city. That rule has started some wild confrontations over the years, but when they tried that with DMX, they figured out fast that he was not the one to play with. DMX was an unpredictable legend, a real force who had been in and out of the system so many times it barely shook him anymore. He was never the type to follow somebody else's rules, and anybody trying to test him was making a serious mistake. For years, crews have been trying to pressure artists with this so-called check-in requirement. Big U, one of the biggest names attached to this idea, even said straight up that rappers must check in when they come to certain cities. He compared the whole thing to airspace and political zones, claiming you can't move through certain areas without permission. But a lot of people think that rule is nonsense, especially because it mostly targets black artists and rappers trying to build something positive. It feels like blocking their own community, and it never sat right with many fans. But DMX, nobody could hit him with that move. He was raw, fearless, and untouchable. Fat Joe once told a wild story after a show with Big Pun and DMX. They pulled up to a gas station and some guy walked in flashing his chain. DMX didn't wait to talk tough, he snatched it right there in front of everyone. Total chaos, and proof that you never tried to press DMX. That was the level of unstoppable energy he carried everywhere. And then there's Aries Spears' story, and it gets intense. Aries said he was at an event promoting his comedy CD, asking celebrities for support, including DMX himself. But DMX wasn't happy about the impressions Aries had been doing of him, so he stepped to him and said, "We need to talk," and brought him into a locker room. Suddenly, around 30 guys followed them into the room, locking in tight around Aries and DMX like a human wall. The bodyguard slammed the door shut and the message was clear. Nobody was going anywhere. DMX started pressing Aries hard about those impressions, questioning him face to face. Aries tried to explain it was just comedy. No insult intended, trying to keep it calm. Still looking to ease the tension, Aries handed DMX a copy of his CD. DMX looked him dead in the eyes and said, "Come to my hotel later, let me hear it. If it's good, cool. If it's not..."
What was it like being around DMX?
DMX was dangerous, man.
Straight up like that. Whoever don't like it, bring it, nigga. Bring it. Bring it. Bring it.
Then DMX let out that iconic growl that shook the whole room. Aries said, what really froze his whole body was what happened next. DMX pulled a razor blade from under his tongue right in front of everybody. After that moment, Aries said there was no way he was showing up at any hotel. And Jay Pharoah, he's got his own story too. He once performed on stage with DMX, and the legend was so fired up, throwing punches in the air with the energy of a storm, that he accidentally punched Jay right in the face while the show was still happening. Pure chaos, the kind only DMX could create, and it doesn't stop there. Memphis Bleek once shared another wild story. The Bad Boy Records crew was cooling on a beach in Miami when Mace pulled up on a scooter. The second DMX spotted him, he took off sprinting straight toward him. Bleek, who had never met DMX before, said he was stunned watching the madness unfold. DMX didn't fear anyone, and he definitely didn't care about who was connected to what crew. He moved on pure instinct and real energy every time. That same fearless energy followed DMX straight into his tension with Kurupt, a respected West Coast rapper tied to the Crips and managed by Big U, a major figure connected with the Rollin' 60s. But DMX never cared about titles, affiliations, or who ran what territory. He only moved on pure instinct and pride. Things got so intense that Kurupt reportedly became the target of a major street hit. 2 of his security men lost their lives, and he barely got away with his own. Word started flying through the streets that DMX might have been involved. And with his wild reputation, a lot of people believed it instantly. To really understand why tension got so heavy, you gotta rewind the clock back to the early 90s, when DMX controlled New York's underground rap scene with unmatched reputation. Meanwhile, Kurupt was just breaking out on the West Coast as a young rising star. In 1992, at around 19 years old, Kurupt and his friend Daz Dillinger signed with Death Row Records. They formed Thigh Dog Pound, representing the Rollin' 60 Crips, and Daz repping the Rollin' 20 Crips from Long Beach. Soon, the Dog Pound grew into something huge, the Dog Pound Gangsta Clique, with heavy names like Snoop Dogg, Nate Dogg, and RBX joining the movement. This wasn't just music. It was a full empire building right in front of the world. But DMX, he wasn't impressed or intimidated by any of it. He respected talent, but he never bowed down.
Nobody in this nigga crew running behind him to stop this nigga. So I'm like, whoever this nigga is, he official. They ain't want no smoke with this.
What was it like being around DMX?
DMX was dangerous, man. When you around him, he's like, you don't know what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Very unpredictable.
The Dog Pound first exploded onto the West Coast scene through their features on Dr. Dre's legendary 1992 album, The Chronic, a moment that shifted the landscape forever, and the momentum didn't slow down. In 1993, they played a major role in Snoop Dogg's debut album Doggy Style, appearing on multiple tracks and skits that helped define the golden era of Death Row. By 1994, Kurupt and Daz were ready to stand on their own, and they launched their rollout for their debut album Dog Food with the single What Would You Do? A hit so strong it later earned a Grammy nomination in 1996 for Best Rap Performance by a Duo or Group. When Dog Food dropped on October 31st, 1995, it went straight to #1 on the Billboard 200, selling over 270,000 copies in its first week, officially locking The Dog Pound in as one of the hottest duos in hip-hop. By 1996, Kurupt's personal life was getting just as loud as his music career. He started dating Brooklyn star Foxy Brown, and by 1997, they were officially engaged, a real power couple in hip-hop. Meanwhile, on the East Coast, DMX was getting ready to flip the whole industry upside down. After signing with Def Jam, he dropped his breakout single, Get At Me Dog, in February 1998, and it hit the streets like a bomb, peaking at number 39 on the Billboard charts. That track made one thing crystal clear. DMX wasn't just another artist trying to get attention, he was a full storm coming for the top spot. And he proved it fast. Later that same year, DMX released his legendary debut album, It's Dark and Hell Is Hot, and it shook the entire rap world to the core. The project instantly crowned him one of the biggest forces in hip-hop, proving he wasn't hype. He was history being written in real time. But while the success was rising, the drama behind the scenes was getting heavy. In mid-1998, rumors started spreading everywhere that DMX and Foxy Brown, who was still engaged to Kurupt,
in LA, when I go to Chicago, I respect Chicago. Wholeheartedly, I check in. When I go to Atlanta, I check in. And I don't think nobody is safe. I know dudes right now from LA who are actual gang members who have been robbed for their jewelry. The United States of America and all these countries have what is called airspace. If you invade their airspace with a plane, they consider that an act of war. You can choose not to, and it's gonna be a problem. If dudes come and you move it in a certain way, if you choose not to check in, suffer the consequences.
were secretly getting close. According to Foxy, it was Rough Rider's own Eve who broke the news to Kurupt, telling him something might be going on between her and DMX. That sparked a major fallout between Foxy and Eve, turning close industry friends into rivals. Foxy denied anything serious ever happened, saying DMX only had a little crush on her and accusing Eve of blowing the situation up and stirring chaos where there didn't need to be any. The timing only made the situation messier. Foxy and DMX were both signed to Def Jam and touring together that summer on the Survival of the Illest tour, so the rumors spread fast. Then in December 1998, DMX dropped his second classic album, Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood. And one track in particular, Bring Your Whole Crew, had everybody talking. The lyrics hinted at street violence, crew wars, and even threw slick references toward the Crips. A clear shot since Kurupt was known to be connected with the Crips. At one point, DMX rapped about somebody talking trash with their lips on the floor and calling out a fake pit, and fans immediately tied that line to Kurupt and The Dog Pound, comparing him to a fake pit bull and claiming DMX was sending direct smoke their way. DMX even went as far as rapping about choking someone out and taking somebody's life, which many people took as a warning shot aimed at Kurupt to back off before things got serious. Nothing was ever officially confirmed as a direct diss, but with all the tension, the timing, and DMX's fiery reputation, the streets couldn't help but connect the pieces together.
Show, me and him at Big Pun in Brooklyn, and after the show, we stopped at the gas station. Meanwhile, the whole crowd was just going, stop, shut him down, open up, chop, ho. Like, DMX was crazy.
By 1999, things between DMX and Kurupt were on the edge of explosion. Word got back to Kurupt that DMX had been spending time around his fiancée Foxy Brown, and that lit a real fuse under him. The situation blew up even louder when, on January 26, 1999, Foxy dropped her album China Doll, featuring a track with DMX called Dog and a Fox. That collaboration confirmed they had been hanging out, and according to Kurupt, the concept for that song was originally supposed to be a duet between him and Foxy. If that was true, many felt it was a straight betrayal that poured gasoline on the fire already burning. Around the same time, Kurupt was deep in the studio working on his second album, The Streets is a Mutha, and he decided to address the whole situation directly. No sugarcoating, no silence. He recorded a diss track titled Calling Out Names, and it was a direct hit aimed at multiple rappers, DMX, 50 Cent, and Ja Rule. Before the album even dropped, the track leaked, and it set off instant chaos across the rap world. In the first verse, Kurupt went right at DMX by name, saying the only X he respected was Exhibit or RBX, making the shot personal and loud. Then he accused DMX of trying to take his woman, Foxy Brown, but brushed it off by saying DMX could keep her, throwing shade at them both for being caught up in fame and money instead of loyalty and respect. Kurupt did not hold anything back. He warned DMX that if he ever touched down on the West Coast, he would get stripped and handled, all over the situation surrounding a woman. Then Kurupt threw another jab, flexing that he had already moved on with someone new and calling his ex played out, another clear shot aimed right at Foxy Brown. In the second verse, he switched focus toward the Rough Riders, making it loud and direct that he wasn't showing love to anybody in that crew except Eve. It was bold, disrespectful, and exactly the kind of track that poured gasoline on a feud already getting dangerous. That quick shout out to Eve in Kurupt's track only fueled Foxy Brown's claim that Eve was the one who told him about her and DMX, giving the drama even more heat.
We on stage, right? And we doing Party Up and we killing it, you know what I'm saying? DMX accidentally snuffs me. That's some real shit. I was like, wow, this nigga's knuckles is hard as a motherfucker.
DMX accidentally.
He accidentally snuffed me.
How?
Is he just
going
No,
out?
look.
Like,
1, 2, now. He hit me outside. Oh, shit. I was like, God dang.
But Kurupt wasn't finished. He fired off more verbal shots yelling, forget Rough Riders, forget The Firm, and forget Belly. The Firm was Foxy's rap group led by Nas, and Belly was the 1998 classic film starring DMX and Nas. So that diss was clearly aimed at both DMX and Foxy, with Nas getting dragged into the crossfire for standing with them. Nas had even once praised the DMX-Foxy situation in an interview, saying Foxy should have been with someone from New York, a comment that pushed Kurupt over the edge. To make it even more personal, Kurupt closed the track by mocking DMX's iconic "Get It Me Dog" line, copying his delivery and throwing the line back at him with pure sarcasm. On some versions, he even mimics DMX right at the beginning, making the attack impossible to miss. But the energy of the feud turned dark fast. Not long after Calling Out Names dropped, Tragedy hit on October 17, 1999, around 11:40 p.m. Kurupt was at Echo Sound Studios in Los Angeles working on his album, The Streets is a Mutha, when sudden gunfire erupted outside the building. The shooting left his security guard, Dwayne Dupree, dead after multiple injuries to his chest. Two others, rappers Willard Givens and Javon Jones, were also wounded, one in the leg and the other in the foot during the chaos. Instantly, rumors exploded all over the industry. A lot of people started whispering that DMX might have had something to do with the hit, especially with how soon it happened after Kurupt dropped his diss track. The streets were buzzing non-stop, and tension between both sides hit a seriously dangerous level. Right after the shooting, DMX's team moved fast to shut the talk down. A spokesperson stepped forward saying, DMX is in Miami recording his album. It's unfortunate something like this happened. He has no knowledge of it. I just got off the phone with him. DMX himself also denied any involvement, insisting he had nothing to do with the tragedy. But even with the denials, the whispers didn't fade away. Not with DMX's fierce reputation and his unpredictable temper. People couldn't help but wonder if there was more behind the scenes.
Yo, get back here. Wait till I catch you, nigga. So, you know me, I'm in the back seat like, what happened between him and Mace? Like, who is this nigga? And nobody in this nigga crew running behind him to stop this.
A month later, on November 16th, 1999, Kurupt dropped his album, The Streets is a Mutha, and just like everyone expected, the explosive track Calling Out Names stayed on the final cut. Every shot aimed straight at DMX included, but Kurupt didn't stop there. On another track, Who Ride With Us, he turned the heat up even more. At the end of the song, there's a skit where he flips through fake radio stations, and one of them plays a parody of DMX, complete with someone mocking his deep, gritty voice. It was pure disrespect and added another layer to an already bitter feud. But DMX was not the type to stay quiet, and he fired back loud. On December 21st, 1999, he dropped his third studio album, and then there was X, which included one of his biggest records ever, Party Up, Up in Here. While most fans treated it like a club anthem, insiders caught the deeper message behind the hype. Many believe the entire track was a direct response aimed at Kurupt. From the very first lines, y'all gonna make me lose my mind, up in here, up in here. DMX made it obvious he was calling out the ones who pushed him too far. It wasn't just energy for the charts, it was a warning wrapped inside a hit record. DMX didn't hold anything back on Party Up. He called out cowards and threw shade at Kurupt's crew, saying they could get handled real quick if they kept pushing the wrong pressure. Some fans even thought one of the lines in the track was a chilling reference to the Echo Sound studio shooting, especially with DMX rapping about a weapon clicking and fights breaking out over something pointless. Then came the second verse, and that's where things got personal for real. DMX started calling out fake rappers, saying they were nothing but characters and not even good actors. A line many believe was aimed straight at Kurupt. He kept pressing the issue, calling someone weak and twisted, and then he dragged the drama into the spotlight by calling out Foxy Brown by name, referring to her in a disrespectful way. DMX also vented about men fighting over women who don't belong to them. Another clear jab tied right back to the situation with Kurupt and Foxy.
Not even a rebirth. He finna give you back what he always been. A beast on the mic with the vocals that can't nobody touch. He gonna make you go get the dictionary to understand every word he just spit.
So was you and X issue actually over her?
Totally.
Oh, so X was messing with her when y'all together?
Totally. Then she took one of my concepts. We was gonna make a record called The Dog and the Fox.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then she went and did it.
By the third verse, the aggression was on full blast. DMX warned that he could make someone stay quiet permanently, rapping, "You keep running your mouth, you gon' blow your lung out," and even hinting at making somebody disappear. Those lines only fueled more whispers about whether he had any connection to the Echo Studio incident, with fans buzzing even louder. What made Party Up such a brutal comeback wasn't only the lyrics, it was the impact. The track blew up worldwide, blasting in clubs, radio stations, and landing on movie soundtracks everywhere. For Kurupt, hearing DMX mock him on a massive global hit must have been straight up humiliating. It was a power move by DMX, proving you don't always need endless diss tracks to win a feud. Sometimes all you need is a hit so huge it shuts the whole game down. Fast forward to January 17th, 2000. DMX pulled up to the American Music Awards at the Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles. During the press room Q&A, a reporter couldn't resist stirring the pot and brought up the tension between him and Kurupt, hoping X would finally speak directly on it. When asked about the situation, DMX calmly said there was no issue between them, keeping it cool and refusing to add more smoke to an already blazing fire. That answer caught everyone off guard, especially because Party Up had lines that fans believed were direct hits at Kurupt, and their tension had already been one of the biggest stories in the game for months. So why did DMX suddenly act like it was nothing? Some believed he was brushing Kurupt off completely, refusing to give him any more spotlight. Others thought it was a smart move, maybe even damage control, with all those rumors still circling about the Echo Studio shooting. Whatever the reason, DMX stopped feeding the feud publicly. Meanwhile, Kurupt stayed surprisingly silent too. Even while Party Up dominated clubs, radio, and movie soundtracks worldwide, he didn't fire back with another diss. Instead, he switched his whole approach. On July 17th, 2001, he released Space Boogie Smoke Odyssey, and on the track Just Don't Give, he finally addressed the tension, admitting he was ready to let the situation go and move forward. But that still wasn't the final page of their story. A few years later, August 23rd, 2005, Kurupt dropped another album called Against the Grain. On the track Speak On It, he brought a little of that old energy back, subtly but clearly. He reflected on how fans kept comparing rappers like 50 Cent, Ja Rule, and DMX to Tupac, showing that even years later, the shadow of their feud still stayed in hip-hop. Kurupt made his position loud and clear. He shut the comparisons down instantly, saying there would never be another Tupac. Then, in a bold moment, he called out DMX by name, dropping the line, "DMX ain't the new Tupac." With that, one of hip-hop's most intense chapters finally came to a close. The feud between DMX and Kurupt slowly faded out, leaving behind legendary music, wild stories, and a rivalry fans still talk about today. If you enjoyed diving into this crazy hip-hop history, make sure to like, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe to SpillHood for more real stories from the streets and the industry. Turn on that notification bell so you never miss the next spill.